Hello, everybody. Welcome to JoINrbs Plays League of Legends, Episode 8. The Zen art form of not losing. In this game, I have picked Lee Sin as our third pick champion, and my pick of Lee Sin is in response to our mid lane pick of Zed. I think that Zed's a pretty good solo queue champion, but if you see someone pick Zed on your team, you need to approach the game slightly differently to how you'd approach the game with like a normal mage setup. Like if we had an Orianna, the game would look a lot different. But with Zed, Zed's the sort of champion who's always going to have kill pressure in lane against anybody, and who's really going to fall off in the late game. He has a very strong level 6 power spike, and then he's very strong like level 9 through 13 or something. I don't know. I'm sort of making this up a little bit. I haven't actually worked this out mathematically, but basically Zed's a very, very strong mid-game champion who really falls off later on, and because of his kit, he's able to get a lot of kills in the mid-game. So, in my opinion, your goal with Zed is to accelerate him into that mid-game as quickly as possible, and then like be present to support his kills with objectives, either by pressuring a tower away from him while he split pushes, or just by being near him, and even if you don't participate in his kill, being there to come like kick the tower with your foot after he's killed someone, so that you actually can turn things into objectives. Our other lanes are Renekton versus Tryndamere, which is like pretty farmy lane. I don't think Renekton can kill Tryndamere. Maybe I can go help and get a gank, possibly. I'm not opposed to trying, but it's going to be hard. And Tryndamere will outscale Renekton quite hard there, but again, Renekton has a pretty strong mid-game spike. And our bot lane is Lucian Lulu against Twitch Thresh, which again, our bot lane is going to get outscaled pretty hard if we go to the super late game, but they're pretty strong in the mid-game. I'm actually wondering, I really wouldn't mind a level 2 gank here, honestly, as Lee Sin on Zed Orianna. So, one thing I want to talk about this game is like recognizing when you're powerful and what to do when you're powerful. And level 2 is a moment where the jungler is powerful. Level 2 with red buff versus a level 1 champion is obviously like, I am much stronger. And Lee has QE, so he's a pretty decent candidate for a level 2 gank. The problem with level 2 ganking is you potentially give up your second buff to the other jungler. But I think that would have been a good spot for level 2 gank, most likely. Okay, so I'm level 3, Jarvan's finished his clear faster than me, and I headed towards mid rather than top. But yeah, it's hard to kill people in this lane with Tryndamere's spin away and Renekton's slice and dice. Unless they actually put those abilities on cooldown, it's not really going to happen. I just stood there for a little bit to like zone off CS, so I made them lose like a cannon minion and 4 or 5 smaller minions there, just because their wave was killing our wave so quickly as I was standing there. And now Jarvan's gone back to farming, and I'm still like looking. Like I know that Tryndamere warded there, I saw. So this bush is safe to stand in, but he's playing safe as he needs to. Alright, so I really, really, really want to get some sort of gank off with these double buffs, and since I started red, my red is actually going to be gone quite soon. That's actually one advantage to starting blue on Lee Sin, is that you get a red buff longer. However, it's been sort of difficult. Note that I'm absolutely not going to farm the wolves here. I took the white because my smite was up, so I could take it quite quickly. But here I'm gonna try to do something mid. And again, there's like not a whole lot that I can do, but I hit this Q and decide to go in. And Ori's flash there is really, really bad, and Jarvan's response is really bad. Zed's shadow comes up and he actually has flash off cooldown, is able to walk through the tower and kill Orianna. Basically, their team played this very, very, very poorly. Like, J4 was clearing wolves when I started that, so he should have killed me, and Orianna, like, very obviously should not have died to Zed. It's a little bit crazy that she did. However, that's happened. Alright. Pause for a second. So after the gank and the double kill, I note that like Zed actually got the kill on Jarvan, and I'm not even sure I got an assist. Like, I wasn't even there. But after that, I'm helping Zed clear this wave. And the reason is we want their tower to kill our minions so that Orianna doesn't get the experience from them. And we also want to get all the experience and gold from their minions. So what I'm doing in clearing that wave is just trying to put the minions low so that Zed can get the last hits, because the gold is worth much more on him. And this is going to typically be true when you're jungling, even if you play a late game scaling jungler, because your laner is in a lane opposing someone constantly, so you want the gold on them, not on you. Despite the fact that you scale into the late game, because like having laners who are even or ahead of the other team's laners is going to ensure that you get to the late game. That's a more effective way of getting you to your late game than taking a bit of golden experience away from your laner. So, I'm there setting up last hits for Zed. Now, it can be better to give your solo laner solo experience, but in this case, I want Zed to be able to go recall. He's gotten a little bit low, and he's also just gotten 2 kills, so I really want him to buy and come back and be strong and kill Orianna again when he hits level 6 quite shortly. So I'm trying to clear the wave as quickly as possible so that he can go back. Their waves are going to hit. Ori's going to get there first, and she's going to be able to shove the wave towards the tower, but she's not going to get it all the way, is what I'm thinking. So, let's just real quick watch how this pans out. I'm actually going to speed this up a bit to demonstrate. So here's Ori. She's trying to shove the wave into tower, and she does get quite a lot of the wave in. Zed's able to get, I think he got experience for 1 ranged minion, and 2 other ranged minions. Okay. So it's like not a precise science doing this, but me helping Zed clear that wave probably gets him the last 2 ranged minions and allows him to back. Like, if I don't help him clear the wave at all, he may have to give up that wave under tower completely. And if not, he may not get back for more. Okay. So, but he comes back, hits level 6, and kills Orianna, just as planned. And at the same time, I'm diving bot. Let's rewind the tape real quick. So on my back, I finished my Spirit Stone, and I grabbed a pink, which I just placed there, a green, I potted up, I'm not sure if I had potions left, and I have a long sword as well. And Twitch is low, and this wave's about to shove in, so I'm placing this green ward just to make sure Jarvan doesn't come spoil my plans. And bot lane is actually pinging for this dive, which is great. They didn't even need me, it turns out, but okay. So Zed kills Orianna at exactly the same time, so we have a dragon window here, even though it's at 6:30, like, they have a dead mid and bot laner, and their jungler just showed top, I believe. Yeah, we just saw their jungler show top like 40 seconds ago, something like that. So it's possible that he can be down here again, but most likely he's not. He would have had to like start running straight away. He ends up showing mid. So we got like a 7-minute dragon, which is quite reasonably fast. That's like, in challenger games, that's when the first dragon generally goes, I think. 7 minutes to 10 minutes or something like that. And I'm like sort of low and have a lot of gold, but the next buff rotation's coming up. So I'm going to grab the buffs, give Zed his blue buff, grab the red buff for myself, and then I'm going to go buy. People trade top lane, apparently. I haven't really checked in on top lane for a while, but the global gold from Dragon should help out. And honestly, like, snowballing Renekton isn't going to do very much for me. He's a top laner with teleport, so he can get to team fights, but he's not going to really scale hard into any power point, whereas Zed getting those 2 kills at level 5 obviously made him able to kill Orianna very easily at level 6. So here I'm giving Zed his blue buff, fighting's happening bot, and the other team's gotten a kill Just one kill. And Lucian actually traded one back, which is amazing. And now, because after the dragon I went and took my buffs, I have to go recall. Which is fine. Like, there's not a huge pressure discrepancy anywhere on the map right now. Zed is looking for a gank on a level 6 Tryndamere, which seems like an odd decision. I feel like he can just keep killing Orianna. Okay, pause. So, you don't always have to gank people by, like, both of the laners are in lane and they're killing the minions and it's very stable and etc, etc, etc. Here we have a situation where I'm coming from base and Zed is coming from top lane and we can sandwich the Orianna. And she like has to walk this way not to have to fight one of us. And if Lucian wanted, he could actually walk up the river here. I believe we know that their bot lane has backed, so we know that they are coming but not as close as we are. So I'm pinging for Zed to do this, and Zed sees it also, and here we come. Orianna recognizes the situation immediately and tries to W out, but she just isn't as fast as Zed and I are. So she's dead, and Lucian walks up the river as planned. That's what the pings were for. And we just get like a 3v2 with 2 kills out of nowhere, basically. Okay. So that sort of map movement is very important to recognize when you're ahead. Like if we weren't ahead, that would be much less desirable, but being so far ahead, we can engineer fights just like wherever we see a fight that's capable of being engineered. We don't have to be picky about what we're grabbing. So objectives to take off that. Just because dragon's off the map doesn't mean that we like need to recall now. So they have a mid tower which we can kill, and they have a red buff which is spawned. Jarvan wasn't able to go grab it. So I'd rather Zed have a red buff than I have a second red buff, so I'm smashing the tower with my foot, or my hand maybe, and Zed's grabbing the red buff. And this guy doesn't have to do anything, and Lucian can go back to having equal pressure in bot lane. So get a tower, Zed gets a red buff, cool. And now would be a fairly natural time to just recall, which Zed is doing. I'm placing a ward here. I finished my jungle item on my last buy, and I think that's a real green ward, right? It's really nice having a real green ward here. I don't actually know how to tell. My red buff has worn off, so I'm considerably less threatening than I was just a second ago, but whatever. I'm gonna go like try for a lane gank here. I see that the wave is gonna push in and I'll be able to get into the bush very easily. But Renekton walks away and I don't really see anything. So I'm just gonna go recall, probably. I should probably just recall. Oh, we see Jarvan, so I'm gonna go scare Jarvan. So this ties into the idea of like being stronger and recognizing when you're stronger. So I don't really have to recall to be much stronger than everybody on their team right now. One, because I've gotten a pretty decent experience. What level is Jarvan? C7 too. Well, I'm Lee Sin, so I'm stronger anyway. I'm an early game Lee Sin. But more importantly, because my laners are just way stronger than their laners. So if I can support a 2v2, even if I'm not that amazingly strong, we're gonna win it, if Zed is there. So what I did there was I was just in the river, and Zed actually went in 1v2 basically on Jarvan, killed him. And then I didn't do anything in supporting the fight, but the fact that I was there meant that Zed could then take the mid inner tower, and we could force Orianna off it. I'm actually going to slow this fight down, because I don't want to go like refresh it all. So we're behind a tower and we walk into a ward. I tried to kick Jarvan into Twitch, but miss. And Lulu's tanking the tower here so that Lucian can walk through it, although Lucian doesn't for some reason, which is awkward. Zed and I are running away. You can see how absurdly strong Zed is just from that one combo, and he kills Twitch. And now Lucian's finally gotten through the tower. So here they basically engaged in us 3v2, and Zed didn't have his ultimate up. And we're still strong enough to win the fight. I'm fortunately drinking a potion so I don't die there. Pressing potion when you start to fight is a good idea. Alright, cool. And we're not going to take this tower off that one because we're very, very low on Oriana's here. However, the fact that we did fight and bring Oriana down means that she can't place pressure here. So there is like a real positive to pulling Oriana there. Obviously we got a bunch of kills too. And now's a perfect time to recall because the dragon's up in 30 seconds. So we're all recalling and heading over here. I haven't been paying much attention to top lane, sorry. But it looks like Renekton is doing pretty well. Renekton should be winning in the early game, and he's winning by maybe a little bit more than I was expecting. Especially since I think Jarvan's been up there more than I have, or at least more effectively than I have. I haven't really done anything at all the times that I've been up there. Alright. So I base and buy a Sightstone and start working on my fast boots. We have a ward in there from the ward that I placed on my way to that tower dive, and I'm able to smite their blue buff. And then Zed's walking behind the tower, so he's able to kill Ori. And I land a Q and still have my ultimate up, so I'm able to kill Jarvan. And so I did just smite the blue buff, but that looked a lot like the Q just missed Twitch, right? Anyway, there's no reason to like try to tower dive here or anything. Like, I understand it being tempting to tower dive, but realistically we don't have a minion wave to take this objective if we kill these two people, and we do have an objective over here in the dragon which we can take right now. So tower diving might be like technically executable and do good things for our gold and stuff, but we could just take the dragon and that would give us as much gold anyway, and be much, much easier. So, this is fine. Like I said, we don't have enough minions to take this tower even if we kill them. So, like, Jarvan and Ori just respawned. If we had Dove and we're trying to kill them, they would get back here right about now and be able to clear the way. So we just take the dragon. Recognizing when a fight's going to give you an objective you couldn't take for free before, and when a fight isn't going to actually open up another objective for you is pretty important. And in that situation, continuing with the fight wouldn't have given us access to any more objective, but killing Jarvan and Oriana had given us the ability to take the dragon for free. Now notice that, like, we're 10,000 gold up, but I'm still talking about this game as though the decisions we're making are serious. One reason for that is, like, it is actually possible for us to lose this game. Like, we have a Lee Sin, a Zed, and a Renekton. Our comp is not exactly the best scaling comp that the world has ever seen. But another is that in situations where the game is closer, the thought process that you should be going through is the same as the thought process that I'm going through in this game. So you need to be trying to win fights which allow you to take objectives, and just not pursue into fights which aren't giving you something when you could be taking objectives instead. It's a different thing entirely to dive these people if there isn't a dragon or a blue buff or anything on the map. Like in that case, sure, why not? If you want to go recall, sure, force a fight where you go 3 for 1 or something. Obviously that's good, but if you can take the dragon instead of going 3 for 1 and then like keep up map pressure somewhat, that may be quite a lot better than actually fighting the fight. Another place that this is really common is when you're sieging a tower. Sometimes you can tower dive people and go like 4 for 3 or something, but lose pressure on the tower siege, where if you just didn't dive them at all, sure, you wouldn't have fought a 4v3 fight, which is technically a winning fight, but you could have just taken the tower, which, like, the gold and power differential from that is more important than winning a 4v3 fight anyway. And then you'd be in the same situation at the next tower, most likely. And then, like, you still have the opportunity to dive them and go 4v3. You just happen to have taken an extra tower. So, just because a fight is winning doesn't mean you have to take it. Alright, now we're going to get into, like, a couple of weird situations where I'm going to show how... Okay, So we're pushed all the way in. These are my 3 wards. I have a ward here, a ward here, and a ward here. Like, that's my opinion of the game state right now. That's to keep track of the enemy team in its entirety. So it's really important at this stage of the game that everybody pressures as 5. And this is way more important in games where, like, it's close gold-wise. In this game we're up 12k, so we can sort of get away with doing goofy stuff. But were we up, say, 4 or 5k, if we turn this into a 4v5 by having 4 people pressuring this tower while 1 buys, or having 3 people here, 1 person here, and 1 person, like, killing the wolves, we can't necessarily win a 4v5 if we're just up 4k gold. But we're much, much stronger in the game, and we should be taking their objectives. The fact is that we just need to be able to group and be 5v5. Or if not be grouped and 5v5, have 5 people pressuring something, so that if we fight a 4v5 somewhere else and, like, go 3 for 4 or something, the other guy can kill a tower. So I'm going to roll this a little bit slower. So I come in and try to tower dive Tryndamere, who's low, but, like, he's Tryndamere with ultimate, so it's not necessarily the case that we can kill him. I found it a little bit goofy that happened. Also, like, I got so close to killing him before he activated ultimate, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, so Renekton goes in. Renekton goes a little bit deep. Their entire team is obviously, like, standing in their bases, so it's really easy for people to respond to a fight happening. So Renekton doesn't have to do that. We just blew Tryndamere's ult and he has 350 health. Sure, I have 400 health, but I'm on the, like, much stronger team, and I'm a Lee Sin who can, like, get away from anything they throw at us because we have wards everywhere. Whereas Tryndamere is, like, facing a Zed who has 16 kills or something right now, 7 kills. So Renekton doesn't have to dive in and try to do stuff off this. But given that he does, he's dead, and we lose a lot of pressure on the map. Now, if Renekton just, like, didn't dive, these 3 guys are sensibly pushing up to mid lane. And if we could keep pressure on this tower, they would be able to get a lot of damage. Now, like, Jarvan and Ori are able to leave the tower. Note that I'm, like, not recalling here. There's no reason for me to recall when 3 people are still pressuring and, like, they are stronger. Managed to pick off Thresh. So I'm just gonna shove this into tower. This forces Tryndamere to come to this tower, as opposed to responding to this fight. Zed's farming Wraiths, which I don't really agree with, but whatever. So now that Tryndamere's been forced there, I'm going to rotate mid to be with my team. Note that I still haven't, like, recalled. There's no reason for me to drop the pressure. Okay, and now we have another situation where, so 3 of us get on this tower and their team hasn't responded at all. They had to go heal and buy or whatever. But Zed's gone to Wolves for some reason. This is not a sensible time in the game to be farming Wolves, and any time that your team is pressuring this far up in the map, you don't want to, like, go farm jungle camps. So we already have, at best, 4v4 pressure because Renekton's still coming from base. And we get really, really close to killing this tower. But in the end, their team comes and just jumps on us and kills me, which is pretty sad. Like, even through me using flash, I used my abilities poorly. I didn't need to die there. And that could have just been avoided if Zed had, like, been standing with us pressuring the tower, pretty obviously. So now we're in a situation where we actually sort of do have to recall, and that's fine. And Renekton and Zed just need to recognize that, and they can go recall themselves and get strong for the next time we're able to pressure as 5, or they can, like, grab a couple of jungle camps. They just, like, need to not walk up and try to attack the towers, because there's only 2 of them versus 5 of the other team right now. But basically they just need to recognize that it's time to go into a little bit of a holding pattern and wait until the team is 5 again. And again, this is going to be true anytime that you're up, like, 4,000 gold and trying to take inhibitor towers. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Alright. So their team tries to take their blue buff and actually succeeds. And here's a decision point. So we see on a ward that there are 3 people here taking their blue buff. Tryndamere's top. Twitch is actually AFK'd at this point, which is sort of sad, but what are you gonna do? He AFK'd a little while ago, I guess. still all of the stuff I've been saying is relevant. So we don't need to fight this fight. This is another situation where fighting this fight doesn't get us another objective, because we can just walk here and kill this tower, because there are 3 people over here doing nothing. So I'm pinging for us to do this. Lucian seems a little bit confused, but if you forcibly do something while pinging it, typically I've found that at least in Diamond, people will follow what you're doing. So Zed sort of distracts these people, and we take the tower and kill the inhibitor. And at this point the game's over. Zed dies because he was trying to fight a 2v3, but him dying to basically end the game is fine. What the inhibitor does is it basically gives us another man of pressure. So now we're 6v5 and it's much easier for us to take towers and what have you. And obviously Twitch is disconnected. You can see that they're capable of killing us down 11,000 gold. Their team comp is considerably better than ours. But just by understanding how to apply pressure to objectives, we've been able to take every dragon and now also open up their inhibitor, which should end the game soon. And since Twitch is AFK, we're actually able to win this fight despite it being a 3v5 pretty much, well, a 3v4. And actually get to work on their Nexus towers and the game ends. So I hope that the stuff I was talking about understanding when to fight and when to go and grab an objective and ignore a winning fight, especially the point about when you're tower sieging and can just attack the tower rather than taking a 4v3 which loses you pressure on the map. That's a really important one. But also points about just being this far pushed up and needing 5 people to be attacking buildings. I hope that those, that you understood what I was saying, because a lot of that stuff is very important and will aid you very much in winning from a 5,000 gold lead. I think it's very common for teams to lose with a 5,000 gold lead in League of Legends, because they come and try to push up here as 3 or 4 with someone farming the wraiths or something. Someone's I really need 200 gold for Randuin's, guys. And the fact of the matter is that what they actually need to do is apply pressure as 5 to the other people's buildings, and that's much more important than them having a Randuin's. So I hope that you understand that and apply it and are one of the people who isn't going to farm the jungle when your team can go win. And I hope you enjoyed this video.